Right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so grateful to be joined by some awesome suppliers that I've worked with along sort of over the last couple of years, actually, not even more. I've got Pandit Ram Pandey,
Sri Krishna.
also known as the Hare Krishna Guru. We also have Upesh from Avari Events. And we've got Alpesh Robadia from Alpesh Robadia, and we've got Ash, and of course Rick is also part of the team, but he's not here, he's not present, but that's from Shimla
Hello,
Foods.
everyone.
Yeah, so thank you so much, guys, for joining and taking the time out to sort of participate on this live. And it was, of course, Ram's idea. Um, because he thought we've had so many questions once everything went into lockdown, and because of the uncertainty of what's going to happen and we're all in the unknown, Ram thought it would be a good idea of how we've adapted, or also to know from you guys, how have you adapted to still accommodate your couples and still make and create their own sort of magical wedding. So Ram, do you want to? Oh, just so you know, I'm Sagar, from Sagar Vyas Weddings and Events, and Atish, unfortunately, who's not here, is my business partner. But me and Atish run Sagar Vyas Weddings and Events. So I'll come back to what we do. But Ram, um, how has COVID impacted you and your pre-services?
Yes, Sri Krishna to everybody. I must say a big warm welcome to everybody who has joined us live and who will be joining us furthermore. And for this one, I would say, as a priest, very mixed information the couple have. One is, of course, confusion, and second we have is uncertainty, where people are not certain what is taking place and what actually needs to be done in a situation like that. And from day one, I have always put on my Facebook and Instagram asking couples to please give me a call or send me a message how we can accommodate for their wonderful day to make sure it takes place and how we can do that. So, going through the summer period, July and August, some weddings have taken place, but only with family and immediate family members. And as a priest, I have done everything to make that day happen as wonderful and beautiful as possible. But there are so many couples who are confused still. And I would always say, please don't feel shy to come to all of us here and we can support you, we can help you. And the industry is changing, and I'm hoping it's changing for the better. In our, if we were to look back, weddings few years ago, it'll be 600 and 700. Now we are also looking for only family members. Couples are happy with 100, 150 people. The people that matters the most to them, the people that they know, and people who actually are there to support the bride. Therefore, that is my little introduction to say that I'm all.
Okay. We will come back to some questions. It's nice that the suppliers also introducing what they've done, and then we'll come back to the questions that that couples have actually come back to us that they want to raise. So we'll do that. Upesh, thanks for joining. Upesh, again, just so you guys know, for people who have just joined, Upesh is from Avari Events, and also has another sort of company called Outline AV. So Upesh, how has same question to you? How has the COVID-19, I mean, the lockdown and the sort of reduction in numbers, how has that affected you in terms of business?
To be honest with you, pretty much following on from what Rambai said, very, very similar. A lot of confusion with clients. A lot of them don't know whether to postpone, whether to go ahead with their events or not. Especially right now at this time where a lot of people did postpone to sort of later on into the year, hoping that everything would be okay. And now obviously we're here. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But we've done a fair few weddings at home in marquees or in a house or that. We've done a few in venues as well. Um, Decor wise, obviously a lot changes. There's no reception, so it's a lot on the wedding side of things. And I try and tell my clients, obviously, it's still your wedding day at the end of the day. So still try and do a good job with it and whilst it's only for 30 people, the pictures that Alpesh will probably go on to talk about afterwards, and the memories that you'll have, that's probably what you're going to have for the rest of your life. And you touched on one of my other companies, Outline AV. So that company, we provide streaming services for our clients, where we can stream the whole wedding from multiple camera angles and out over YouTube or Zoom, out like this is, and then we can also stream guests from their houses back into the room, so the bride and groom can probably see their guests sitting at home watching the wedding, which is a nice little touch. So obviously, if your grandparents aren't able to attend the wedding, but then being able to see them at home watching you get married, it's a nice sentiment to be able to get out of, it's something out of nothing, I guess. So yeah, I mean, mixed feelings. I mean, it's every case is different. We've got a lot of clients that are in their maybe third or even fourth rounds of postponing their events. And now, I think they've just sort of been, they're content with it now, and it is what it is, and just trying to make the best of a bad situation, I guess.
Yeah, I think the type of clients, that's because of this situation, you've got two type of clients really. One who just want to kind of get it over and done with. They've got to a stage in their life and they're like, look, we just want to get married and just kind of cross this kind of barrier, or a wedding day if you want to call it that, and then just live their lives, right? And then the second who do want to delay, and I mean, as blunt as it sounds, I guess keeping up with the Joneses, and just because their friends had a fantastic 400 guest wedding with, pre-shoots and all the kind of bells and whistles, they want to wait. So, you get kind of those clients who, with all, I mean, both are right? There's no real wrong in this situation, but you get one who, look, just give us a date, we're going to do it in the garden, whether that's allowed or not, I'm not too sure. And then the other type who are kicking the can down the road, and it's like, oh, we've got this new date, and then we've got another new day, and then, all sorts going on. I think the hardest thing with this is you're trying to coordinate with your suppliers. You've got, I guess, yes, the mandap suppliers who are the biggest, catering, DJs, Maharajas, and we've got these 3 dates in December now. Are you free? As my diary says no, his diary says yes. So it's like, it is stressful, definitely, but clearly defined with two types of clients. One who just wants it over and done with. Some of them even look at it as a blessing in disguise, not in a bad way, I say that, but just purely for weddings, not for the COVID situation. But they're like, great, we can save money. We don't have to invite the whole herd. And just because we got invited to, X, Y, and Z, we feel as if we have to oblige and invite them to ours. And then all of a sudden you're left with kind of 400 guests, right? In this situation, currently, it's like, great, we don't have to invite them, which is fine. And they just want to kind of get it over and done with, right? So clearly two types of, that's what I'm seeing anyway, especially with my my brides. Some who are just like, they might have issues with family and so on and so on. So they're like, look, I want XYZ to be there, and they're a bit frail or whatever. So the sooner rather than later. Doesn't matter if we have to keep the hall for whatever cost. They just want to kind of get it over and done with. And there's a fair amount of them. And then the others who, we still want to do an international wedding. I've got a fair amount who are like, yes, we're rescheduling, we're still keeping it in Spain or whatever. So, I don't know if any of the other boys have found the same situation where,
Exactly the same. The two types of clients, ones that want to get on with it and just move on with it, which I get, to be honest with you, I get it. And I also get the other side, just like you just said, Alpesh, people that still have that fantastic wedding. Maybe they got a bit more time on their hands, in terms of planning a family and getting a house and those sorts of things.
I think similar situation with us, similar boat to obviously working with you guys. We've got that mix of clients where there's people that have pushed back into 2021 because they've been left with no choice with dates and venues, and those that just want to kind of get it over and done with. Our main thing was, look, we'll be there for you as much as we can. Obviously, this situation was out of control. It wasn't in our control, wasn't in the client's control. So the best thing we could do was kind of be there for them, accommodate them wherever we can. Obviously, we all know that there's new clients coming in for 2021, but we've got to bear in mind the fact that these guys haven't had the opportunity to have that dream wedding of theirs or do it the way they wanted to do it, right? So in the back of our head, we've always got to have that kind of moral aspect there as well, to be like, we'll support you with whatever kind of decision you guys have made.
I think there's I mean, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, but I think there's a massive thing with regards to this whole, like the deposit, the non-refundable deposit, which has to be refunded and kind of all of that jazz. I mean, you can kind of kill that conversation with one comment, really, which is like, I mean, just be human about it and ring your supplier and have an open conversation. It's not as clinical as an email and then, sending a link to the government website. I mean, look, if you really like that supplier, you book them for a reason, right? If it be the sake that you'd rather have the money in your bank and make a decision whenever you do get married, that's fine. They'll always eventually give the money back. I can't see, especially in our industry, any supplier that would hold that payment, yet they haven't done any work for it. That's ethically wrong, I think. Whether they can afford to give the deposit back is a whole different conversation. I think that comes down to business and how you run your business. If you're gonna survive on people's deposits, that's in each individual company and how they want to kind of handle it. But rather than sending emails or text message or WhatsApp groups, just have an open conversation. I think people will be quite surprised how sincere your suppliers can be, photographers, whoever they are, as to, look, I'm going to hold your deposit, but I promise you I will reschedule, and whenever your new date is, or if you really want the money, just give me a month or two and I'll give that payment back to you. But when you try and say that on an email, it's very difficult for a very small supplier. If you've got like a bedroom photographer who's just starting up, maybe he's put that money on a lens or whatever, or I know catering is a very different aspect, and mandaps are, you can't really start it up like that.
But sometimes I think just picking up the phone and having a normal conversation with them helps. Because like you said, over email, they don't really understand what you're saying too much.
This is
kind of face-to-face always helps, right, in this situation.
For
us, I think the majority of clients did push back into 2021 rather than cancel their wedding altogether. Which is, it works out.
I think also from a supplier's point of view, we can also forget that these are people who've actually picked you to do their wedding, whether it be the catering or video, photo, whatever you want to call it, marriage even, right? They're like, we like you because you're a funny guy. It's like I was guilty of it. I used to forget. Oh yeah, like what? Well, you're gonna reschedule the date, or you want your money back. You put up a lack of defense, but in all honesty, they chose you for a reason, and then trust it. They might come back to you if you play the cards correctly in a very honest way. They should come back to you and rebook you, right? So
I think the thing is, weddings are stressful on a normal day, but when this is all on top of you and you've got all of this to think about as well, it's a different ball game altogether, right? So you've got to have that kind of compassion towards them, that
exactly, I agree,
responsibility, right? To be like, we're going to help and we're going to support you with whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah. So what Alpesh is saying and Ashley, you are saying is it's an element of trust.
I think it's just. I think trust is well, you book them on the first initial. You booked someone because you really liked them. Out of the 5 marriages you saw, you liked him or her. So you booked them, and now with this situation, look, what's the situation with the deposit? We want our deposit back. That's absolutely fine. I'll happily give it back to you. Let us know if you get a new date or whatever. You got to be a bit more open-minded as a supplier. That look, money in their bank is better. And they'll make a clearer decision later on down the line as to, do they scale it down and have someone a bit more simpler, whatever. That's up to them, right? But if you can't afford to give the deposit back, the halfway house will be, wait until 6 months. I promise you, I will pay you your money back because I haven't done anything to justify keeping that deposit, right? I think it's absolutely ethical. It's wrong if you're gonna keep someone's deposit, even though you've said non-refundable or whatever. I think there is a thing that you have to kind of compulsory give it back minus expenses. So
according to what I saw recently, you have to give it back. But I mean, the way that me and Atish are working is, we've had a couple of weddings where they have been cancelled, but they actually haven't asked for their deposit back, even though I haven't done any work. But as you mentioned, Alpesh, earlier on, is I can't justify keeping that deposit because I haven't done anything for them. So what we've done is I've sort of put an extra bit in my contract, just as a COVID-19 guidelines, and just explaining that if I can't give my deposit back, I'm happy to put it towards another event. whether it's a smaller civil and I just put a system in there, or it could be, look, COVID's not going to, okay, it might be here forever, but it will get under control. And you are going to have, I'm just going to be right and blunt here, but you are going to have babies. So you're going to have a baby shower, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have a first birthday party. You're going to have
credit,
your
credit for future events.
Yeah, we've
correct. And just by and just by sort of telling them that, you know what, actually I've realized that none of my couples have actually actively said, well, yeah, we don't care about that, we just want our money back, because they know that, okay, well, when we choose our next event, we won't have any problems choosing a supplier because we've already got one now, right? So,
I think like said, they've chosen you for a reason, right? So that whole trust element has to be there before they sign any document or pay any.
The thing is, I mean, I'll just put like my 2 pence in with that. I mean, the way Sagar said it, if I rang him and he said it like that, you know what? Say, I get it, you know? It's the voice, it's the tone and everything else. But when said, I think, you know, these things go out of hand. I've heard many things with, you know, whether it be a makeup artist or whatever. And it's like, oh, you've sent an email. You read it in a certain way because, you know, pardon my language, but, you know, it's hitting the fan and everything's going wrong and my big day and whatever else. So, you know, you're in that state of mind. So you read it in that state of mind. But if you speak to that supplier, it's just a very basic phone call. And then you see how, damn, you know what? I booked you actually for a reason. I totally forgot about it. And, you know, Saga, look, just hold on. I really don't know what I'm doing right now. And I'm just going around trying to clutch at things. And I want my money back because I know this is going to end with it in a brick wall or whatever it is. So you get into that situation, right? But it's a simple phone call, and then you'd be surprised how it can be resolved. And it's just like, look, your payment, your money's there. If you really want it back, I'm not that guy that's going to hold on to it for no reason. Other people, you know, they'll probably blast it with a couple of T's and C's of their contract and execute that. That's up to them, right? But this can also backfire as well. Like, and it may not look like that in certain suppliers' face, but you know, the reputation, you know, bad news always travels faster than good news. And whatever reputation a certain supplier has, you know, a cousin speaks about it. Oh, what's happening with you? Like, oh, do you know what? It was like this. And then I've had a nightmare with my bloody makeup artist or my DJ or this, because they're just holding my money. Can't even get hold of them or whatever. So you want to just squash that. And then just kind of.
I think communication, right? Communication is key.
Massive. Yeah, totally agree with that one. Yeah.
I think there is one more point that I want to bring here, and that is one, as mentioned, communication is the key. And second, as much as the bride and groom or the families are aware of the situation, us suppliers and individuals are even more on top of the whole thing, because we want to know how the whole situation is going to unfold. The wedding day is as much important to us as it is to the bride and the groom.
Yeah, and holding you on that kind of point that you just made, you know, I kind of, every bride that's kind of walked through our office, it's kind of like a cliche line that I always use, but it's like, you know, it's your big day. I totally get that. But you got to understand, it's, you know, 10 years of my reputation. So I'm not going to ruin it just for your wedding. So, you know, you got to respect my reputation as much as I will respect your big day. So there's the kind of trade-off, I think. So, you know, clients do have some, maybe financially, you know, whatever the T's and C's say, whatever, maybe not. But, you know, as a reputation supplier is very kind of, he'll cherish that, you know. He doesn't want anything going out, he or she doesn't want anything going out, especially like that. So, you know, you can use that as a thing. Psychologically, I think have that as confidence for a client, I think. Definitely.
Yeah. I just, Upesh, what about you? I mean, like, what's your thoughts? I mean, in terms of how have you been, because of course, decor is a completely different side, as well as Ash, your side as well, because you just are not just planning that, just the decor side, even though you've got the decor in place. For Ash, you've got the food orders to think about, you've got the staffing to think about, especially now with seated dinners, you know, you can't have buffet. So you've got that seated element of it. Upesh, with you, of course, you've got to have the staffing to get the mandap in place before any guests get there and so on. So what are your, I mean, you know, everyone's different in terms of how their procedures are working. But Upesh, if you don't mind, I mean, what are your sort of procedures at the moment in terms of, you know, people who are either booking it this year and then, you know, saying, oh, by the way, now, okay, let's just put it this way. Let's say someone was getting married in the garden. And now that this thing has come in as of yesterday from Monday, So clearly, if there's not a 30 people wedding, there's going to be 6 of them. They don't want their mandap, they don't want anything, they just want a nice little backdrop, but they've paid you full amount. What are your processes around that in terms of, will you chuck in some extra decor, or I don't know?
So it really depends. I mean, if they're still going ahead with the event, a lot of my decor wise isn't really numbers based. So it's, I mean, if it was in a venue, it would be chair covers, centerpieces, etc., etc. For us, if we're going out to do decor in a house, and whether there be 6 people there or 30 people there, essentially, if they've booked what they've booked, it will still take me the same amount of staff to do it, the same amount of operations and whatever else. But obviously, you know, I understand that I'll be happy for them to scale it down, no problem. I think anyone who's booked us past COVID has got that assurance from us that if for whatever reason anything government related comes out and you can't go ahead with your event, I'll happily give the deposits back to them. But then I'm booking their event on that assumption and knowing that as well, and they're booking it so they're comfortable. So we're both comfortable in the same place there. I mean, it's difficult because obviously things are changing overnight, for example. So I mean, at the moment we're working very closely with a marquee company who have got quite a few bookings for next weekend, and we're doing bits of decor in those places, and all of a sudden everything's gone out the window. So there's not much we can do there. I mean, what we can do to potentially help our clients is potentially find them a venue that will allow them to have their event in there for 30 people. Now, obviously, that's a lot of work from our end, and we're happy to do it. It's not a problem. We wouldn't charge any extra for that sort of stuff. But it's exactly what Ash and Albash were talking about. It's communication. I mean, it's frustrating for the clients. Don't get me wrong. Of course, it is. It's stressful. We're here to help you with that burden and that stress as well. But it's a two-way thing. It's got to be a bit of give and a bit of take, and you know, we've got to try and make the best out of a bad situation, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think for us, quite the opposite, right? Because we are quite numbers dependent. Our catering style depends on numbers. Our pricing depends on numbers. How many staff we have depends on numbers. So the sudden drop in numbers for us was a bit of a shocker. But we kind of saw it coming. We knew it was coming. In ways, we've kind of had to remodel our business in terms of, okay, fine, if you don't want the full essence of our service with staffing and table service and buffets going on, then it could just be a simple, if you're having it at home, we could come and just simply deliver the food, which is something we're going to have to look at very soon with the numbers, going down as they are. But like Upesh said, things are changing day to day now, so it's just a case of monitoring the situation on a day-to-day basis, keeping up with the guidelines, watching good old Boris on the news, and acting accordingly. I think this is the only way to do it.
I don't think he knows what he's doing, mate. So until he doesn't know, we're not going to have any idea.
That's another discussion, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Ram, I mean, see, I think we were discussing this, and I mean, I know Ram has, you've somehow managed to not maybe just completely reduce your charge, but you have worked out something where you can still keep yourself happy and the couple happy. Because I know a lot of couples have been reaching out to priests and saying, well, there's only 30 people. Can you not lower the numbers? But then the Maharaj is like, well, whether it's 30 people or 400 people, the ceremony doesn't change, right? The order of the ceremony, the time length of the ceremony, the stuff that's required, it's still the same. So, I mean, how have you dealt with your clients when they've asked, if they've asked you that?
I think that's a very nice question you have asked. With this one, I've noticed one thing as a priest is something. Once they trust somebody, they book a Maharaj, and if I'm able to deliver that service, for me, money is not a priority. It's my service and my togetherness to the family. I know if I was to be nice and perform the service that they want, for other ceremonies, they will invite me to the house as well to be. So I look at a longer picture. So in that way, it's better for me to come to a middle ground, which they are comfortable with and which I am comfortable with. And in that way, able to work in a plan, understanding their whereabouts, where the ceremony is taking place. And as you mentioned, either they are 6, 30 or 100. My time length of the ceremony does not change. It's absolutely the same. And whatever I do, it remains the same.
Yeah.
But what actually is changed is what they are comfortable with and how they feel. Maybe in Maharaji, there's less people. How can you accommodate? So my first priority is actually not the price, to accommodate the bride.
Yeah.
And once they're happy, and those Panditji, we really enjoyed, and you made us forget that it is a difficult time. And when I see that smile on their face, and for them to say, thank you, we are so glad that we have booked you, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I
And
think
everything else comes as second.
I think smiles are our payments, right? Because we're always going to get referral booking because we're going to look after them, and they will talk about us as suppliers, thinking that, you know what, even if it's £100 reduction, I've realised that that £100 you make back double next year because when things go back to normal. I just want to, before we go on to just one question, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's joined. We've had between 70 and 80 people on our live today. So, wow, thank you so much.
There's only 80 people when I'm talking, then it goes back down to 30.
Yeah, I know. I realized that. But now, thank you so much for taking out the time during this evening to actually join our live. And just remember, guys, we are doing this. We can talk about this over the phone. We've got our own WhatsApp group, but this is more for you guys. And if we've got any couples, and not just couples, if we've got parents of couples who have questions or are not understanding what's happening and whether they should go ahead, whether they should not, please put it on the Facebook live chat, because we will be coming back to some questions once we have finished our session, and we will be happy to answer them, whether it's from decor, photography, Maharaj, event management, music, and catering. I've just want to have a few people have said, Jayesh has said, Funky J, sorry, empathy is the key to success. And we've got Kiran Bay, makes sense, Sagar, I agree with you all. So now, thank you so much. Please do put your comments on here, and we will come back to them at the end of the session. So just before we finish this section off, I mean, from your perspective, what advice can you give to clients for the existing clients that you got? Do you think, the reason I'm asking this is that a lot of them have said, well, this COVID has completely put a damper over our whole wedding. We're not excited anymore. We don't know if we want to do it next year. We can't be bothered. And then all of a sudden they are now getting excited because restrictions are lifting. And then when they're looking for a date, they've got no date. So what do you say? I mean, in terms of, are you, as suppliers, are you happy? Are you happy to hold provisional dates for next year? Let's say if they had a booking in November, December, and they're still holding that with you, are you happy to hold another backup date for next year for them as well? Ash?
Yeah, I think we've done that with a few of our clients already, where they've held 2 dates with us, one for later this year and another one for middle of next year, maybe August, September. We're happy to hold them. We obviously do let them know that if someone else inquires, then we'll let them know first off. But again, it's one of those things, you've got to kind of understand where they're coming from. They, on the other hand, need to understand your side of things as well as a business. So it's a two-way street. And luckily, the clients we've had, they've touched wood, they've been fine. As soon as they've had the opportunity, they've picked one of their 2 dates and they've kind of made a decision on it, which has been good. And I think the point that you made on advice is difficult because it's a difficult situation for everyone. But patience, I know it's been a long time already. It's been, 6-7 months since we've been in this situation, but have patience. When the day finally does come, whether it's this year, next year, or the year after, enjoy it. Because it's the day you've been waiting for. It's, you've put all your hard work, your effort, your endless meetings, your tastings, God knows what else into it. Just enjoy it, because it's finally here. And whether it's 30 people or 500 people, they're the people that really want to be there. So
yeah,
I think that's
I think with that last point of whether it's 30 people or 400 people, it goes back to that bride who wants to just get on with it and live her life, right? So she'll be like, yeah, you know, your advice is different for that particular bride, because and also the way you're behaving is slightly different for that bride, because you're trying to flex and kind of clutch at things and just get it done for her. And then just kind of like, whether it be this weekend or whatever, you're kind of like, right, we've got this many people, you know, make sure you log in and track and trace and whatever. Cool. You just kind of just, sounds a bit raw, but you just kind of just bang it and you're out, you know, you kind of just do it. And again, this sounds really bad, but you try and be as creative as you can with, I'm only just talking about my sector, but you know, 50% of wedding photography comes down to politics. Yeah. So, and I'm talking about, if you miss with that uncle from America, you're going to hear it, right? So in that sense, financially, we have to flex like that. But in terms of what Sagar said of, how do you advise clients moving forward with those brides that want that wedding, that big fat Indian wedding, then it is patience. Yeah, you're right. You kind of just have to grit your teeth, and it will happen. It's just a matter of time, right? I mean, no one's saying no to you. No one's shutting the door on you. I mean, I guess the grass being greener on the other side, you got to treat it like, at least this way I've got more time on my hands. I haven't got issues with deposits because I'm absolutely fine with it. There you go. That's one box ticked. And the other is you can actually plan it properly without having rushing kind of, you know, certain things. Who knows? Costs might be a lot cheaper next year. I don't know. The way things are going to go, whether it be catering or decor, whether, you know, I hear random things of certain suppliers dropping out, you know, just hearsay stuff, but it's just one of those things, right? So two different kind of, I think, pieces of advice you have to give. Depends what the situation of that particular couple are. Definitely. But yeah, it's interesting times ahead for sure. But with regards to kind of, even with deposits and stuff, we don't even bother taking deposits. It's pointless. Like, I get a bride ringing me up, yeah, I'm getting married in October. Cool. Here's the paperwork. Check it. If you're happy with the way I'm going to operate, cool. Well, what's the deposit? Well, it's pointless, because if it changes, I have to give your deposit back. So why don't you just hold on to the deposit before I spend it? And once I've done the project and I'm ready to hand over, payment on delivery of goods. How's that sound? They're like, oh, you're not going to do a runner. Oh, you know, I need your money, and you need the photos. So we're in a stalemate, right? So why don't we just keep it classic and shake on it, and we trust each other? And some of them actually like, wow, that's a great kind of Dino. There's a photographer, Dino Drum. He's the one that actually kind of hearsay. We heard about him doing this kind of thing where, you know, if he really trusts someone and he likes them, he's like, look, I don't want your money. Just shake my hand. No contract. I'll do what you say, but listen and respect my trade as well. And clients used to do that with him. So, you know, lesson learned from another photographer, I guess. But yeah, it's maybe some people want to adopt that, or maybe they want to tighten up their T's and C's a bit more. Suppliers are going in, you know, one or this direction. You're either going to really chill out and it's going to round your edges and it's going to make you a little bit more like, I guess, cooler. I think I would say I'm definitely cooler because of it. Like I get a lot of praise for kind of treating my clients like that. Still don't take deposits. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. So keep your money. I got your date locked in, and they're eager to book me. So I know psychologically that I got you anyway, right? I got you guys. So I don't need the payment. I'll take it after when I've done the job and you owe me the money. There you go, right? And vice versa. They love you for it. It's like, wow, this is so refreshing. This guy or this team or whatever, they're just kind of behaving like this. And it's I think it's a step in the right direction, but it takes a certain kind of person to do that. I think everyone can do it, but I think if you treat your clients as friends, you'd be surprised how it will end up.
100%.
If you treat it, I don't think any supplier, especially in the Asian, not to be like racist, I don't think in the Asian kind of scene, there are any money-minded suppliers. They all do it for a reputation, you know, a certain standard they want to kind of achieve. I get that. Try it out. What's the worst that's going to happen, you know? But if you really put your clients on a pedestal and you treat them with respect and in some shape or form act like a friend, you know, they're going to be like that with you, you know? A friend's never going to stab you in the back. It's not a friend, isn't it, otherwise? So
thanks for that, Alpesh. That's actually a very good advice. And you're right, actually. When you were talking, your numbers went up again. Upesh,
I'll pay you later. I'll pay you later.
He's texted all of them beforehand.
Yeah, I know. Oops, what about you?
I'm actually in a slightly different situation, Dalvesh, if I'm honest with you. When we're hiring out decor or props or mandaps or things like that, we don't have multiple items of the same things. So the only way we can actually make sure that the client ends up going ahead with their event and not cancelling on us maybe 2 days before, not because of COVID or anything that's they're having to cancel because of COVID. They might have to cancel because they just found another supplier or they don't want to go ahead with the event. And I do not just weddings, I do other types of events as well. So my stock is all like very broad. And so for those reasons, I do need to take deposits to make sure that they go ahead with the event. Now, like I said before, if COVID was to come in place and they're not able to have their event anymore, I'm happy to give that money back to them. That's not a problem. For us, we have a huge team. We have an operational staff. We have vans. We have so many overheads that we have to make sure that we can cover. So for me, on that side of things, I would love to be able to do it the way Alpesh said, but we've been burnt a few times in the past. And if I'm honest with you, if I wasn't burnt like that, I probably would have continued to do work like that. So I had to learn the hard way, I guess, and operate in that respect. But I do genuinely treat my clients as friends, and I make it very easy for them to pick up the phone and call me. Exactly what Alpesh said. An email is only great for a quick communication of maybe putting something in writing or whatever. But picking up the phone and actually having 10 minutes to speak, or 15, or even an hour to speak to a client, you put their pressures at ease. And what I found actually is a lot of clients, they've been wound up by other suppliers potentially in their in their problems, and they then are so wound up they take that frustration out on the rest of their suppliers. So
good point.
With them and saying, look, we're doing things like this. I can't speak for every other supplier, but how about you try attack it like that, or kind of thing. So having conversations like that, it's been a hard few months. I mean, never have I had so many difficult conversations, but I've been really lucky, having really good clients, and everything's gone well so far, given the circumstances.
Yeah, I think you were saying the same thing, right? It's I think individual suppliers, it's different, and so I completely get your. For us, and me and Ram work together a lot, as some of you know, but for us, because I have to take some kind of deposit because we're getting so many new inquiries for next year that if the weddings have been moved from this year to next year, I have to keep their deposit if they're definitely going to go ahead, because so that I don't take on a new inquiry. Whereas if I give their deposit back and then they say, well, we've now found someone else that's slightly cheaper because of whether they've been furloughed or whether they've been redundant, then I've lost another potential booking that I would have had. So it's very tricky. We're fortunate enough that we've now got 3 people part of the team that can do wedding ceremony music, so we can take on 3 events. But I'm guessing there's a lot of suppliers out there that don't have that team, that losing that one business could mean a lot to them when they haven't taken a deposit. So I know Ram, myself and Ram, we do send out a new contract. You might hate me for saying this, but we send out a new contract when they've changed their date to next year, because the old contract with the old date is void. Is that something you guys do as well, just to give them that peace of mind that you've got the new date in? Okay.
Yeah, I changed my order confirmation, which will have the date. So whatever date's on there is the date that we have in our diary for them.
We're not going to ask Alpesh because he doesn't send contracts, so it's all right.
No, as in terms of... You just get a quick text message, that's it. I don't think I changed the contract. I think I'm just referring to the deposits though, right? I'm not referring to the contract itself. But I don't change the actual date until it's concrete. Everything right now is provisional. Like, unless you're that bride that is just wants, look, I want to live my life with my fiance, whatever, then that's different. You can hear it in her tone of voice that she wants to crack on with it. This is the date. Unless it's absolute lockdown, I'm not changing it. Okay, then I'm just going to send you some paperwork and then just double check it. Everything else stays the same. I haven't changed anything on my contract to reflect anything different with this current situation.
The changes will be a date. That's it. Literally.
That is it. Yeah.
As Upesh just said, with us, the thing with contracts and deposits is that there's so many other people relying on this one booking that comes in. We've got staff to think about. We've got chefs. We've got a whole load of things going on. Drivers for the vans. Now, as soon as the deposit comes through, or the contract's locked in, we kind of give the dates to our staff anyway. So they're depending on working that date with us. So for us, there's a whole lot involved in terms of there's a lot more people dependent on working that day. Obviously, you guys have seen, we've had teams of about 30, 40 people on site, right? So it's for us, if we can't take a deposit or don't do the contract, then it does get a bit difficult for us.
I think that's a very nice thing, that a contract, something, it gives peace of mind to both parties. To the suppliers and to the individual who is getting married as well. I think in that sense, I'm quite blessed. It's unfortunately, it's only me that I don't have anybody that if I am not able to do it, I'm not able to do it. And I think in that sense, especially Maharaj and everybody else, what you have advice is that you have given is so nice, that one is based on trust. Second, you have said that we are there not to take anybody's money, but to actually support one another. And third thing that you guys have mentioned, that we always care about the bride and the groom and our reputation of how many years that we have been working on. And I think as Maharaj, the same principle actually applies. That I always say that actually no, it's the amount of years that we have applied. And what Sagar said and yourself have said, bad news spreads a lot faster than the good news. And if I was not good, if I did not do anything properly, I say, Maharaj, nothing better. He did not do it. And the same principle applies to photographer, mandap, and catering as well. And same to the music as well. So in that way, we are all there, caring for ourselves, caring for the bride and the groom, and also asking them to be actually caring in the same way, vice versa, the way we treat them, and we want them to treat us the same. And understand our difficulties, which is the same as their difficulties.
I think another thing that's quite important that we can all kind of advise our clients on, whether it be wedding music, photographers, decor, caterers, is to always have a plan B. Obviously, this 6 months has taught us that anything can happen. So as well as them wanting that dream wedding and all of that, just at the back of their mind, just have a plan B just in case, whether it's, raining outside, do the ceremony inside, or whatever it is. Like, it's important to have that plan in the back of your mind, I think.
No, I like what you just said, Ash, because I think that's what I've been advising our clients in, not in a in an arrogant way, but when this all kicked in, they were changing their dates from August, and then so from August to September, and then they're literally just every week they're reviewing watching the news, reviewing every section of it. Now, if you're going to do that, then I understand why you're doing it, because you want to make sure the numbers are increasing and if everything's going to go ahead. But if you're going to do that, then that whole excitement of planning that wedding is completely gone out the window, right? Because that's all you're focused on is just, is it going to go ahead? Now, if you knew it was 30, and unfortunately it's gone back to 6, but no, it actually hasn't, has it? It's still at 30 at the venue. Yeah, so if you were gonna have 30, then just stick to 30 and be happy with it. However, if you think, oh my God, I wanted a grand wedding, then there's nothing wrong with that, but then just book it next year and don't argue about it and don't complain about it saying I couldn't get married this year. And I completely understand, people are getting married at a lot later age and they want to, they bought an apartment, they want to move in together and so on. But then if that's the case, then as all of you guys were saying, then just get married and do a civil and maybe just get a marriage and get 4 tree trunks in a park, right? Because you don't actually need, Upesh, I'm not putting you out of business here, but it's the pillars, right? You just hire 4 pillars from Upesh and say, sit in the middle.
I think a lot of it is family pressure, though, Sagar. It's easier. I think it's easy for us to say that, but there's a lot of family pressure on these guys, right?
There's a lot of family pressure. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things in the mix here. I've had one bride.
So it needs to be a certain way.
Yeah, there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of things involved with it, which actually can. And when you get to a pressure cooker situation of a wedding, a small thing of inviting that particular family from America, oh no, they can't come because America, blah blah blah, that magnifies by 10 because of that wedding, because it's a tipping point in your life, right? And not to be sexist, but for a bride, that's like a thing, right? I mean, without brides, if men had it their way, not to be sexist, but I am, but they'll just do it kind of, we'll just get my mate to take the pictures, and we're gonna get some pizzas in, and we'll make a 2x2 mandap or whatever. Not to be, I'm going very extreme with this, but these brides, I think what I'm trying to get at is that mental state of a bride is she wants it that way. All of us get paid good money. Let's not beat about the bush. We get paid good money to give that attention and that service. So if that particular bride wants to wait, so be it. It's not as straightforward as you can have it like this and then you can have it like this. Some brides still want it done this year, but they still want a vari there.
That expectation.
Oh, they still want the Shimla style food there. Oh, Shimla, we got 30 people. We'll pay what you charge, but look, we've only got X amount. Now, the interesting question I would ask Shimla is like, with the standard of food that they do you still accommodate for 30 people at your price point? Like, that's one thing I'll be like, because if I'm going to get if I got a bride, I'm recommending her, she's got 30 people, who are you going to recommend? Go to see these guys, they're the busiest boys out there. I totally understand the way your business runs.
Because initially, pre-COVID, if they had come up to us and said, we've got an event for 30 people, their pricing would be a lot different to what it would be for, say, 400 people, right? It's just the way things work with us. The higher the numbers, the better the price we can kind of do for you. And everyone knows that. Having gone through all of this now, and there's people coming back to us saying that, look, we still want to do our wedding in November or December, wherever it is, but it's going to be 30 people. You have to try and come meet them somewhere, right? You can't charge them extortionate prices because that's going to annoy them. They're going to go elsewhere. And you can't charge them the price that you originally charged them of whatever it was for 400 people because it doesn't work out for you.
It doesn't work out,
So there's got to be a medium, and a lot of clients understand that. They understand that your price is going to change when the numbers do drop.
Is there not a halfway point where
that's a given when it's a numbers dependent industry like ours is?
Is there not a halfway point where you can actually have a set menu, maybe 2 options, just to give some sort of opinion on it, and so then like that is all you're cooking?
It's just changing our style and changing our delivery almost. We would cut down on certain things, maybe staff and all of that, to try and make it more affordable for the client. And maybe if they want to downscale it totally, then it could just be a straightforward delivery to their house or wherever it is.
And then they serve it.
So it's just about remodeling the way we work and trying to explain that to them. And luckily, a lot of them know that this is how it is going to be going forward.
No.
I think that is so nice. The way understanding the needs of the clients and remodeling the whole structure of the business simply for the needs, what is actually required.
It's not. It's if it was as simple as black and white, talking to whatever, then it's kind of, you can predict what's going to happen with a particular client when they call you. But so much more is put into the mix afterwards.
The thing is, every client is different as well, right? So you have to judge it differently.
No, they do, definitely. I just want to say, again, thank you so much for people who have, the viewers that joined today and taken your evening out. Got a few people. Manish Bhai said Jai Shri Krishna to everyone. He goes, let's pray, let's be positive. Let's enjoy 30 or 300 people. It's less cost for the bride and groom with small events. We've got Avnish, we've got a few suppliers on here as well. Dhiren, Ash, send me some food. Starving, bro. Okay, Dhiren, wow, Alpesh Live beats the doodle pictures. Okay, whatever that means. But I mean, I'm just a bit cautious on time because I know some of you guys you've got other meetings and so on.
Dinner time. It's dinner time.
Sorry?
Dinner time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it. But still, that's a meeting, right? That's our time exactly.
That's
Isn't
I
it
just
called
want
a
to.
pet puja? It's called a pet
Yeah,
puja, bro.
yeah,
it. You
exactly.
might need a marad for it. I'll need a
Yeah,
marad for it.
you got one right here, mate.
Yeah, he'll bless your dinner. That's it, done.
Exactly. I just want to. I mean, one question that's just come to me on WhatsApp. New inquiries for next year. They are holding themselves back because they don't know what's going to happen next year. What's your advice? Do you think they should get a date in at least? Because otherwise they're going to miss out on the suppliers that they want. Or should they just drag it on, keeping in mind that everyone from this year are moving it to next year?
Who's that? Who are you directing that to?
Let's say Alpesh, you start. Well, it's to all of you because I think they just want to know from the supplier's point in terms of, Alpesh, how busy you are. Alpesh, how busy you are. What do you think in terms of, do you think they should just actually not forget about what's happening now? Because to be honest, I think we're in the unknown until something gets found anyway. But do you think that should hold them back in choosing their date? Because otherwise they will never choose a date. And when they do choose a date, we don't know what's going to happen anyway.
I don't think they'll never choose a date, but and to not, I mean, what's happening now, you can't really forget it, right? So
No, you can't.
the blunt answer would be no. I'd rather have all my costings with me, and I wouldn't commit to anything right now. Wait, simple.
Okay.
If they're living together, whatever else, doesn't really kind of have kind of an emphasis on this, but my personal advice would be wait. You've got all the options in front of you. If that bloody supplier that you really, really wanted because you've seen them at your best mate's wedding and you want them, whether it be a Maharaj, a caterer, whatever it may be, is not available on a particular date, you haven't committed to anything. So why don't you maybe just start window shopping as a halfway house and start looking at those suppliers that you really, really want because you're worried that they're not going to be available on your date. Then maybe jump the gun and ring them up and say, look, I'm thinking about getting married on this date. Are you available? Maybe your makeup artist or whoever it may be. Yeah, I am. Cool. Ring the next important supplier, which could be your caterer or whatever. I think the most important supplier is the bloody venue anyway. So once that's available, then you trickle down to the suppliers or the things that you don't really are concerned about. It could be a car, or just for an example, no disrespect to people who hire out cars and stuff, but a bride is not really overly bothered about that. A groom might be, right? So you have that priority list. If 5 of your top 5 priority lists are available on that date, no brainer, innit? You just kind of lock it in and you go ahead with it like that. But if you can wait and you want to wait, I would, if I was in that kind of situation, I would definitely jump the gun and start ringing around at. You do it the other way around, the way you shouldn't do it. And like, oh yeah, I really want this Maharaj, and yeah, he's free, and Sagar is free. Cool. All right, so you guys are free. You know what? I'll get back to you in 2 days. Can you hold my date? Yeah, cool. Just get back to me. I got your number, so cool. Then you ring up the other ones. Cool. You know what? This date is actually looking good. Let's lock it in. These guys are all cool. They're gonna give our deposits back if pardon my language, but if it hits the fan, then they'll either hold our payment until they reschedule it. Blah blah blah. Right? That's it.
I think that's nice. What you said. Be proactive and look around and put a difficult situation like this.
Correct. I think to summarize it simply, be productive but be reluctant. Be defensive about just willy-nilly just booking things and whatever. Play your cards close to your chest. If you're that concerned about it, everyone should be concerned about it because it is the COVID situation, and 2020 weddings have all been pushed into next year. Me personally, 2021 new inquiries, they're not as important because they're not my client yet. Now you can shoot me down for that, but if someone's ringing me up and inquiring about a particular date, you know what, I'm gonna make my calls to my 2020 brides and everyone that's committed to me right now, and I'll maybe reply back to that inquiry, not client, inquiry, because they're still window shopping. I'll reply in a week's time. I mean, I could be wrong for doing that, but you're not my client yet, and I've got enough for next year to be worrying about. So, I'd rather respect the ones that have committed to me, and I'll look after them and respond quite quickly to those kind of people. But I think for me, go on. Sorry, go on.
I think that's a very nice point, Albish made. I think that is all of us. We are in the same situation that whoever we have with us for this year, we will make sure and we'll do every endeavor to look after them for the next year. And we all want to make sure that we enjoy the day and they also, everything is given to them. All the support that we are able to give, we will also give to those bride and the groom and their families, and make sure that their days happen as they actually wished for.
Yeah. What about you, Ash?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it could go two ways. I think if the couple know who they want as their suppliers and they're fully committed, then I think go ahead, back yourself and book up the date, book up your suppliers. Because as you know, next year it's going to be double whammy for everyone. You're going to have new inquiries coming in, as well as all of these dates that have been shifted. So I think the earlier you get in, the better. If you know you want your suppliers and you fully trust them, then go for it. Back yourself and get the date booked.
And I think
then I'd say, maybe go down Alpesh's route and have a look. You know, like you said, maybe, I don't like the term, but window shop. And it's client dependent, man. Because if they're pretty sure on who they want to go for, then I'd say just back yourself and book that date in. Because venues aren't going to have the dates available. You probably don't want to go into 2022, so you gotta just book it in, I think.
Yeah, and Upesh, before we finish off.
For me, I mean, pretty much the same. I think, I mean, it's a two-way thing, I guess. For myself, if I'm thinking about it, we mandaps, for example, we only have one of mandap that we have. So if that's the mandap you like and you really want to have that, then I would say, you know, book it, pay a deposit. When we pay a deposit, we have software, so all of our items that you picked are all blocked out of our system, unavailable to anyone else. So from that perspective, you've got all your items that you want and they're yours. Now, obviously, worst case situation, if we are at, you know, we have to postpone, we'll move the event to another date and to another date and so on and so forth. And we don't take, you know, 50% deposit, so you're not having to part with a huge amount of money. For us, it's just a small percentage to be able to say, you're committed, we're committed to giving you that event that day. We're not going to turn around and say, we got a bigger booking on that date, so we left you high and dry. We've committed to you, you've committed to us. So that way it kind of works. But then I also understand that, you know, for example, if it's a reception party, I wouldn't worry about booking that right now, if I'm honest with you. You know, I've got tons of reception decor. You know, I mean, we don't have ones of everything, we have multiples of it also. And, you know, and that is very much an iffy place to be in, receptions, whether that's going to happen or not. So I would wait that one out, maybe. You know, if it's Mendy decor, wait that one out, maybe. You know, if it's the main items, main suppliers, main items, get that sorted first, and then worry about the little ones closer to the time. Because the likelihood is, if you tell your supplier you're booking a wedding, and you may have a reception, you may have a Mendy around that, me as a supplier, I'll know that. So I'll know around your date, if we're allowed to have parties and receptions and all sorts, then, you know, you can add that in at a later stage.
Yeah.
Very nice point. I think that's really nice.
No. Yeah, because then you're not forcing someone to book. They've got the option there because you've got the decor. And it means that at least they've got that peace of mind that, you know what, this is not someone that's putting pressure on us in terms of just book it now, because the option's always going to be there and you still might honor it as a package rate as it is anyway. So, okay, so I think, yes, it is 9 o'clock. No one actually asked any questions, which I'm hoping it means that whatever we talked about, any questions that you did have, we would have answered it.
Absolutely.
If you do have any questions, even after we finish this live, everyone has been tagged in. So Alpesh from Alpesh Robadia, Upesh from Avari Events, Ash and Rick from Shimla Food, Pandit Ram Pandey and Sagar from Sagar Vyas Weddings and Events. So, and we've got Atish as well. So if there are any questions that is supplier relevant, then I'm sure you guys don't mind them reaching out, whether it's on your emails or whatever.
Yeah.
But please do reach out. What I will do is on the back of this live, I'll tag everyone on their Instas, so you will have their Insta links just in case if you are thinking about how to create a different type of wedding if you've especially moved it from this year to next year. Use this time to try and still be excited, whichever way you can, to still create your perfect wedding. And I'm sure by looking at Insta pages and going through Pinterest and so on, then you might find something that you never thought about that you could have this year. So use that time productively, and I'm sure all of these guys, all the suppliers that we've got on board today, they will help you and guide you whichever way they can, because we've all got the same vision, which is making sure that you guys get what you want, and we are here to sort of guide you and deliver the content. And this is why we're doing a live together, right?
Absolutely, and we are there in every way to help and support whichever way that we can. And be part of that.
So yeah, thank you, Alpesh. Thanks, Alpesh. Thanks, Ash. Thank you so much, Ram, for actually suggesting this idea, because otherwise we would have never come on like this. I don't think anyone's done this, so this is pretty cool.
Quite nice.
And thank you to all our viewers. Actually, I know we've still got 50 people on here, so I'm sure you've enjoyed or taken something out of this live. But yeah, please do share if you think that this is going to help one of your loved ones, whether it's a family member or a friend who's getting married next year. Then please do share this video with them. We don't mind. And if they want to reach out to us, then as I said, I will tag everyone in on this live after we finish. So thank you guys. Thank you so much to all of you as well.
Thanks, guys.
And
thank you.
We'll catch you guys soon.
It is such a pleasure, everybody.
No worries.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.